Hello guys. Today we're going to delve into the history and contributions of the Jewish people. Join me as we explore the story of a resilient community that has faced numerous challenges throughout the ages. Who are the Jews? About few years before this, the Jews made trouble by crossing the Jordan River. About 30 years ago, there was a struggle with the Egyptians, in a heated war of words with Iran 3 or 4 years ago. The situation was so intense that a fight would break out at any moment. These events are just a few among thousands of events. Really, who are the Jews who live in the cool, with so many struggles? In short, it can be said that the Jews are a very ancient human race still living in the world today. It is not fair to call the Jewish nation a nation that goes back 2,000 years before Christ. Because the Jews are mixed with other nations of the world. A large number of so-called white people in Britain are Jews. The Jewish population in America itself must be measured in millions. There are also cases where people who went from Sri Lanka to countries like England and Europe married Jewish women and came to Sri Lanka. But except they call themselves whites of England, they does not say that he is descended from Jews. To use the word Jew, one not only comes from Jewish ancestry, but, in addition to being so, adherence to Judaism is also relevant. According to Judaism, the first half of the Bible or the Old Testament is believed. They do not accept Christ as a savior. Christ was crucified because of the conspiracies of the Jewish priests. Not all Jews accept Judaism. There is no killing like in Islam for changing the religion. A good example is Benjamin Disraeli, who was a British Prime Minister. He was a follower of Christianity. Also, they follow Judaism in a different way than their neighboring nation, the Muslims. For example, no Jew follows primitive laws such as, the worker must be killed on the Sabbath. Also, nowhere in this world is there a group of people like Jews who think in a balanced way about other religions. Let me give you an example. Not only Hindu yoga centers in Israel, search on Google about the Buddhist Vipassana meditation centers. You will get tons of details. This is why their thinking power has expanded. They have a huge number of multinational manufacturing companies around the world. The Facebook owner is also Jewish. Also, the world's top scholars were Jews. To name a few, Einstein, Karl Marx, Yehudi Menuhin, von Braun, Zielkowski, as well as Christ and all his disciples were Jews. Even today there are Jewish celebrities. How these people became so educated is a question. As a relative example, for one Jew there are 14,000 Muslims in the world. But there are more than 250 Jewish Nobel Prize winners, and less than 10 in the Muslim world. There are about 900 Nobel Prize winners so far. 0.20% of it has been won by the Jews, who are 0.2% of the world's population. If you Google list of Jewish Nobel laureates, you will be surprised to see the list on Wikipedia. In fact, it is a question how these Jews became so educated as a nation. One obvious reason is to get rid of their old religious law books and adapt to the present. Moses was the prophet who presented the Jewish religion and laws to the Jews. As their original land, Israel, was established as a separate state. Jews are one of the most oppressed nations in the world. During World War II, the number of Jews who died under various forms of torture was more than 6 million. The reason for that is because they were born Jews. About 2,000 years ago, the Jews had a country called Palestine. In 70 AD and 135 AD, the Roman emperors arrived, burned Jerusalem, and decreed that not a single Jew could enter it. Jews started living in different countries of the world after that. But the Jews were deported from those countries. This was first done by England in 1290 AD. France and Germany followed England and expelled the Jews. In 1348, the reason for Great Plague in Europe was falsely accused of poisoning wells by Jews. Hundreds of thousands of Jews were killed. But later many countries in Europe passed parliamentary acts and granted citizenship to Jews. Some of these countries are Belgium, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, Switzerland, Austria and Norway. During World War II, many Jews were killed and many more Jews fled to other countries. In 1947, according to a resolution of the United Nations, Palestine was divided into two parts, one part for the Jews and the other part for the Arabs. But many Arab nations have not bowed their heads to this decision since then until today. Another is from fundamentalist Islamic organizations. The surest way to go to heaven, or meritorious deeds, is, they say, a Jew was killed. Iran, one of the giants in the power struggle in the Middle East, is also against the Jews. Onis, Iranian President Ahmadinejad said, Israel will be wiped off the world map. But before that he was swept out of the presidency. He was ridiculed not only internationally, but also by the common people of Iran because of going to say that the killings of Israelis in Germany are lies. Although 6 Arab countries expressed complete opposition to dividing Palestine taken from the United Nations organization and giving one part to Israel, it was not a reason to stop the rise of Jews. In fact, the Jews had more land in the past than they have today. But today the small piece of land they live in is surrounded by Arab states. As in, tongue between 32 teeth. As long as the world exists or fundamental Islam exists, this hatred will be last. But the Jews still live safely in Israel. All of Israel's skies are covered by radar technology. Therefore, it is not possible to invade Israel as easily as think. Hundreds of Kafir planes are parked in underground bunkers. They could spring into action at any moment. Almost the people of the whole country are prepared for war. Even beautiful girls who are thought unfit for war have become capable soldiers. To one who has been there, one can see how a vast part of the desert has made heaven. In places where it is difficult to make a heaven, they set up solar thermal systems and get electricity for the country. Example, Ashalim Power Station. It is the largest thermal tower in the world today. Taken as a whole, the gifts given by the Jews to the world are many. To write about the gifts of the Jews to the world would require a large book, not an article like this. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, please hit the like button. And you want to see more content like this in the future, please consider hitting that subscribe button below.